beautiful, epic and not very difficult song from Elton John and Bernie Taupin. Not difficult on the guitar, especially if we put a capo on the 3rd fret and play as if in A. It's originally in C, which is okay for the guitar, but then we end up with lots and lots of F bar chords. The 3 major chords we've got here: A, that's chord 1, chord 4 is D, chord 5 is E or E7, and they, at a guess, make up about 80% of the entire song. The challenge, I mean, for me, it's singing as usual, but also the fact that the sections, there's a long verse and a long chorus, they are that long. The whole thing's like 5.5 minutes. And even though there's lots of repetition, it's just going to be a bit of a challenge to kind of keep an eye on what goes where. Those 3 chords each feature a little variation. So before we get on and grind through the various sections, let's just look at what happens on an A, for instance. And I could play my A like this with individual strings. That top note there, that's quite bright on the top string at the, what is the 3rd fret. If I play like this, barring, that's probably quite high enough. I'm barring across the top 4 strings at the 2nd fret with my 1st finger there. The advantage of this is that I can get to this, which is D over A. And there's quite a lot of that, you know, when I've got an A chord, we're often moving between A and D over A as a kind of gospel gesture. So that's how I'm doing that. We've got a similar thing for D, although this is a bit more subtle, it does still happen. We get D and then we get G over D. Okay, so you could just put a little finger on the 3rd fret of the top string, or maybe add a finger on the 2nd fret, on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string as well. You could keep that 3rd finger where it is for the D chord. You get a bit of that, but the big one is with the E chord. So we get E and then we get A over E, and what I'm going to do here is just bend backwards, if you like, that 3rd finger to make an A chord briefly with E still in the bass. Okay, so each of those is going to feature a few times. So to kick us off, let's have a quick look at the intro itself. We start with a bar of A for a bar, 2, 3, 4, and there's some picking that goes with this. We'll look at that in a moment. But we'll bring the 2nd finger down onto the 3rd fret of the bottom string for A over G. Now I'm going to change the whole thing to this, which is D over F sharp. I'm not going to bother with the top string. I could, but I'm actually just repeating. That note's an F sharp there. I don't need that one up there. Down to A over E. There's 2 beats each of those. And really what's going on here is bam, that's the A, then there's the G, F sharp, E, and if I could I'd go down to a D, but we've run out of guitar, so now I'm going to go up to a D. So we've got this kind of flowing descending line before we get into E in the verse. That last bar of the intro is D, 2, 3, but I'm running down here, B, 2nd fret of the 5th string, to the open 5th string, 4th fret of the bottom string, that's a G sharp, and F sharp, which is the 2nd fret, and then open onto my E chord to begin the verse. I can't light. Okay, so the whole of that with that little rundown, and then we'll look at the picking. To the verse. Now there's a recognisable figure that happens in the piano in the intro. It's also in the chorus. It's this. That kind of a thing. I've tabbed that out and I'm staying on this chord for 2.5 beats. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm picking the 4th and 3rd strings. 2, 3. Coming up to the 2nd string, but I'm adding a finger onto the 3rd fret and off again, and then my little finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string and off again. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Now we get on to the A over G, but again I'm putting a finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string and off again before picking the middle 2 strings there. That's the idea, that's my conception. That kind of a thing. And then we can just strum through the rest of it. 1, 2, 3, ba 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 bum. Okay, perhaps we'll have a look at a slight variation on that when we get to the chorus, but that's the idea. Okay, let's start looking at the verse. Okay, now there are 16 bars in the verse, 4 bars per line kind of thing, and we kick off with 2 bars at the E. It's really E to E7. I can light no more of your... And just before we move from E to E7, on the 4th beat of that first bar, we're going to have one of our A over E. I can light no more of your... And then we get on to darkness. There's our D over A, 2 beats, and then the A itself. So, I can't light no more of your darkness. Now, the 4th bar, we get half a beat each of D over A to A. It's just a little habit, really. And if you wanted, add a C sharp in the bass. That's my 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 5th string. 2, 3. That takes you up to the next line. All my pictures. There you go, and there's your G over D as well. 3 beats on the D. All my pictures. Back to D. Seem to fade to black and white. 2, 3. Okay, so lots of that. Another now 2 bars of E with an A over E at the end in each case. So let's just have those first 8 bars. I can light no more of your darkness. All my pictures seem to fade to black and white. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And again. I'm growing tired, for time stands still before me. Frozen here on the ladder of my life. 2, 3. And the last one is E7, I reckon. And then we go back and play the verse again. So in fact, the second half of the verse, I reckon, is, I've only just realised, it's pretty much exactly the same as the first half. So let's have the whole thing. And if I can, I'm going to play the whole of the first verse and get into the second verse too. Here we go. I can light no more of your darkness. My pictures seem to fade to black and white. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I'm growing tired. Time stands still before me. Frozen here. Ladder of my life. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Too late, this is verse 2. To save myself from falling, I took a chance. Change your way of life. Where it starts to get too high, never mind. a meaning when I met you. Now it changes. Close the door. We get this. We go to, this is the, instead of the last 4 bars of the first verse, we get D for 2 bars. And that, close the door and left me blind by the lights. We get 2 bars of D. There's A with an E in the bass, going to E proper. And if you want it, then play a D at the top. Keep that bottom string, or the bottom 2 strings, going, so we've got D over E. So, close the door and left me blind by the light. Don't like the song. And we're into the chorus. I need a drink of tea. Now the chorus kicks off with the first 3 chords of the intro. That's the A over G, and then the D over F sharp. But it stays on D over F sharp for a bar before moving on to B7. Don't let the sun go down on me. Although I search myself, it's always someone else I see. I might actually keep the F sharp in the bass that was there from the D chord, and then it's actually not much of a change to get to the B7. Now we get A over E. I just allow a fragment of your 2 beats of D over E to E7 live to wonder, and back to this same sequence. A over G to D over F sharp to wander free. Everything, and then we just stop. Losing everything is like the sun going down on me. And we have this bar. It's a different chord per beat. B minor, A over C sharp, as we saw that briefly in the verse, D, and then D with E in the bass. So we get this. Losing everything is like the sun going down on me. And we're back into our intro figure. A over G with that little thing. We'll come back to that in a second. D over F sharp for 2 beats. A over E for 2 beats. Then D for a bar with that little run that takes us back into the verse. The picking here that I've got is essentially the same as the intro, if you remember this. But then, I'm just adding that at the end of the second bar. Okay, it's very similar. Just means we have that little picked figure on the A and on the A over G. As normal. So that's just what happens in the piano. Okay? And then we're back into the third verse. So, intro, verse 1, verse 2 with a different ending that takes us into the chorus. We play that first chorus and we end with all that stuff. And we end up going into the third verse. The third verse takes us into another chorus, which is exactly the same, but it ends differently. So let me just show you what goes on there. We have losing everything is like the sun going down on. And instead of doing the, we just go straight into an A that's played much more solidly to A over G. Again, it's the same chords, but it has a different feel. A whole bar of D over F sharp, and then we get this F for 2 and G for 2, and then don't let the sun then we go into another chorus which is exactly the same again, and losing everything is like the sun going down on, and again into that ending, but this time we actually do end to me. F for 2, G for 2, and we finish on an A, and that's everything. Those last couple of bars you could play F that way, move that up to G, and then actually that would give you quite a nice grand 6-string A to finish on. Okay, well that's it. Thanks for watching. Let's have a little playthrough. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to sing this or play the tune on the saxophone. Wish me luck either way, and hopefully see you on the next one. 1, 2, 3. I can't light no more of your darkness. All my pictures It's like the sun going down on me. Look at the sun go down on me. Although I search myself, it's always someone else I see. I just allow a fragment of your life to wander free. But losing everything is like the sun going down on me. That's more or less it.